this week's movie review is a bit different because we'll be talking about 3 different short films that we watched in class that are
Duit, Kecil by Johan John, Lollipop by Namron, and Meter by Benji and Bahir.
So we will be talking about the first short film that we watched, which is Duit Kecil by Johan John.
Yeah.
So the first scene was a man who enters a place.
A brothel.
Yeah, a brothel. He wants to pay. He realized that he has no small change. Thus, Duit Kecil, the title. He only had a 100 note, and I guess it was troublesome for the girl who wants to find like small change to give him back. They sort of like criticize him for being a cheapskate.
About how all the prices of foods and everything just keeps going up, but people's salaries and stuff can't keep up with the current economy. One of the prostitutes said that our prices, our wages are pretty much the same. It doesn't really go up. It's kind of like a standard price kind of thing, but they made it seem like he's such a cheapskate about 40 ringgit, but basically it's just like how they're earning money. The 60 ringgit is something really huge for them, just like the 40 ringgit is something really huge for him as well. Yeah, the next short film is Lollipop by Namron.
So, starts off with a scene of a guy who seems to be pleasuring himself. The main character was still a kid, was in the shower. It says,
"Come get lollipop" or something.
Yeah, and the kid was like, "I don't want your lollipop." There's one part where he was watching the telly, and then it was about this politicians, judges. So especially the politicians, they care more about their well-being, about their status, than the actual current issues, like actual things that actually happen, like kidnapping, child kidnapping.
I believe that this is one of the very few, or maybe the only film that actually touches on this pedophile issues that's happening in Malaysia. Okay, so I think that Namron did a really excellent job in trying to portray how a pedophile is, and how it's like there is a backstory to it of how it started. Definitely an abusive family member, or maybe a neighbor or somebody, and there's a story of how he would just end up being the same as how he was abused by the same person. But that's not the entire thing. They could be a pedophile later on in the future, or they could just be asexual.
Okay, so the last film is called Meter. Anyway, so this story is about a taxi driver, Kari Jamaluddin. For the first thing, he was talking about sports, like how Malaysians are not supportive enough of the
local
sports, especially football.
Yeah.
So
But he himself is contradicting himself because of his Manchester
ringtone. It was like an MU ringtone about how English is important.
So the thing is, he was contradicting himself again. So he said that English is important, but yet
when his passenger asked how much is the fare in English, and then he was like,
"You're Malay.
Kau Melayu kan, and
you're Malay, so speak in Malay. You don't have to speak in English and impress me," or something like that, right?
Like that. But no, the third passenger was the Indian guy, where he was talking about how politicians like jump from party to party, and then can be seen when the passenger got out from the taxi and jumped into another taxi. So it's like him jumping out. So the taxi driver ended up giving the caress to the passenger and his friends. I guess because he is sort of proud that some other race takes interest in the keris, which symbolizes the Malay race and also UMNO. And Mizati pointed out that Kyrie, the taxi driver, who is also a minister, is also a youth leader for UMNO, and it all goes back to the Operasi Larang, back when Najib, the current prime minister, was the youth leader for UMNO, and he said something about keris ini akan rasa darah Cina or something. So Kyrie shows that Kyrie gave the keris to a Chinese person. So it shows that,
We're all united.
we are
And
one. Malaysia satu